All right, we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Leadership from the Heart. Today, I'm Elizabeth Riley in Austin, Texas, with my fearless co-leader, co-host, Renee Funk in Orlando. How are you, Renee?
I'm doing unbelievable.
Unbelievable, like our friend Tom Hopkins likes to say, unbelievable.
Yes.
Well, I'm unbelievably excited because we have Ryan Rodenbeck here today, and he's actually in my market, and he's the owner of Spyglass Realty. He's an independent and he's been building his business for a long time that I really hope he shares with us. But what I love about Ryan is he kind of speaks our language, right? He's really excited about the culture and really bringing people together and help building people up and building their businesses. And so, Ryan, we're excited to have you here and thank you so much for sharing some time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on board.
Awesome.
Hi, Ryan.
So I know Ryan and Renee know each other a little bit from Inman, the Inman circles, and I know Inman is a big thing for you, Renee, because you're an ambassador. And Ryan, I didn't know that you are a contributing writer, which I think is really awesome because Inman is such a focus right now, especially with the pandemic. How long have you been doing that?
I think it's been about 1.5 years, and I've always just been a reader of Inman, and they interviewed me for something. I don't even remember what it was, and I said, I've got an article I want to submit, and would you be interested in that? And then I submitted it, and they said, well, you want to do like a monthly column? I said, sure. So I've been doing it for about 1.5 years now.
I love it. I love it. Well, Ryan, like I said, he's in our market. He's a Platinum Top 50 agent. Very well respected, but I know a little bit about you. I want you to tell us a little bit about who is Ryan Rodenbeck. Tell us like what drew you to real estate. I know you've been in the business a long time, but tell us your journey a little bit.
Yeah, so what I figured out, I had a knack for sales, and I had a business with my sister who's also in real estate as well, and we did claims for siding that had a class action lawsuit on it. That kind of ran its course. Statute of limitations ran out, and I realized that I really was not qualified for much else. And so I got my real estate license, and the rest is history. I think I started Spyglass in 2008. In about 2011, I became a top producing agent, and right around I got my broker's license in 2008 when I started Spyglass, and the idea was that I'm just an agent, and I had 5 or 6 people that basically just came on, and I don't know why they were with me, but they were. And then 2015, I said, you know what, I want to get really serious about building this business and getting out of production. And so the journey from Spyglass, really, technically it started in 2008, but like as a brokerage and getting serious about building a team and building it to where it is now, that really started in 2015.
It's interesting because we talk about on this show leadership a lot, and recently we've been talking about adversity, right, and overcoming adversity. Yeah. And I mean, if you think back to 2008, I was starting in a whole brand new market in 2008 when the market wasn't great. Here you are launching your brokerage in 2008. Were you struggling with that, or I saw it as opportunity? What were you thinking when you decided to go down that path?
I had a previous brokerage that I was not the broker of, I had a partner in that was, and we did, investment real estate sales and property management, and really it was like one of the worst things I've ever done, quite frankly. It was a great experience, but I wanted to start over. And when I started it in 2008, we started it in our living room, advertising foreclosures and that weren't even our listings, and building a list. But I just, when I first started, I just wanted to be my own broker, be my own person, and try to become a top producing agent. I did that in 3 years, and didn't have the plan that I have now, right? So it wasn't until like really 2015 I said, okay, I eventually I want to get out of production, right? I enjoyed being a top producing realtor for a while, and this is the first year that I've not applied to be on the Platinum Top 50, and really want my agents to be, my mindset has completely shifted, right? I want to grow a company of producing agents, and I don't want to sell real estate.
Yep.
Well, that's cascading your wisdom and your experience out, Ryan, which is such an amazing progress that you're experiencing is you went through so much. Even looking at the birth of your brokerage was on the brink of an economical collapse. You were faced with a ton of adversity. You overcame it. And I'm wondering, if we look back to 2008, 2009, and you compare it to 2020, we've all been faced with quite a bit of adversity. How has business changed for you 2020 as compared to 2019? And then second part is, do you feel more prepared because you experienced 2008, 2009?
Well, in 2008, I had a padding. I think I had some investment properties that I'd owned for a couple of years, and the market had crashed, and sales had slowed. I was starting completely over, so I wasn't really worried about it. Like I sold a couple properties, and I just didn't stress about that. I was just kind of, let's get through the next couple of years, sell some things. I mean, in hindsight, obviously, I would have loved to have those properties now because they'd be worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
But and it was a different environment. When the pandemic hit, I think last year I said we had 16 agents. We have 36 right now. Okay. When the pandemic hit, I think we had about 27, something like that. And my goal to get out of production was 30. So when it first hit, the first 2, 3, 4 weeks of it, I was really crippled for a very short period of time by this fear of like, oh man, I'm just getting to where I wanted to be, and now this is going to happen. Because I don't think we knew what was going to happen in the real estate market. I certainly didn't. It's like, it's going to. So I spent about 2 weeks of panicking, wondering, and keeping that internal. And then at that point, I made a real mindset shift where, what are the opportunities here? First of all, everyone's at home. Okay. I want to recruit. I'm just going to keep going. Okay. So even before I knew that the market was going to continue, I was like, I'm going to keep going. Everyone's at home. Got really intentional with my team, and saw this as an opportunity to, be really uplifting after the 2-week period of grief,
right.
And say, guys, everyone's home right now. Okay. Make your calls. Don't sell. Just say, how are you doing? Okay. And that's what I did with my recruiting business too, in the sense that I'm just calling people because everyone's home. They all want to talk. They all want to talk about the market. People were just looking for stuff to do. So I attacked it with full force. We started meeting. We had one huddle meeting a week that we do with just the agents that are on leads. We changed it to 3 times a week, completely voluntary. And then everyone showed up, because everyone's at home. So we do these Zoom meetings. Everyone's there. We started doing weekly happy hours. So I think we kind of pulled everyone together during the first couple of months of the pandemic, and fast forward 6 months later, the entire brokerage is thriving. Almost everyone is doing so much better than they did last year.
It's amazing because Renee and I have had a lot of these conversations, and we've talked to a lot of people and agents, and where everybody experienced, I think, what you described. Okay, there was a first few weeks of, oh my gosh, what does this mean? What is this going to look like? And that's kind of where we were when we started talking to leaders, and how are you managing this, and how are you overcoming this? And there's fear involved, and I think that was a really normal thing for all of us to go through. But then what's interesting to me is there were those people that stayed in that place, and there were those people that took action, right? And I love to see, that you took action, and you're like, wait, this is an opportunity for me to still pour into others, and let's get past that fear. And I love that the fact that you've got these agents that are thriving now, when unfortunately there's so many out there that aren't, because they didn't know what to do. So congratulations and kudos to you on that.
Yeah, thank you. I think it was really important for me to realize that, I'm the figurehead of this. I'm going to be, at least for the foreseeable future, right? And that we need to lead by example, So, as I would, encourage people to do more videos, to do more social media posts, people, if you're leading by example, and if people see what you're doing, that's what I'm constantly doing. We talked about workplace before, right? Giving them examples, like, this is what you should post, right? And then let them follow. It's been great.
You both are spot on with the difference between those who got into action and not. I'm curious because I loved that you took time and space to, what I like to reference is, mourn the reality. I think we all had a time that we were mourning the reality of what was going on.
Yeah.
But what was that moment of clicking for you? What is that thing that clicks into your mind as a leader to say, well, for lack of a better word, suck it up, buttercup, let's get into action, and kick the fear out and just get into action? Like, what is that switches for you?
Yeah, so I've always been, and this is going to sound bad at first, but I've always kind of been a proponent of don't get mad, get even. And I don't mean that in a way of like revenge, but like when you're getting your butt kicked every day, like you can either sit there and keep getting kicked, or you can just get up and fight back. And so that's kind of where I was with it. It's like, you know, and I do that all the time. It's like, you know, you can only take so much before you have to like really leap into action. You get hit, get up, get back up, you know? Yeah. So for me, it was like, and I feel like my mind can only entertain so much negativity for so long, you know? And that's throughout everything, right? Like the news, like, you know, it's like 3 weeks into it, like Apple News, I'm done with it, right? Like that's not on my phone anymore, you know? And like, and I'm at like, talking to people, you know, we have our neighborhood get-togethers or outside in the street or whatever, and like I'm completely dumb at what's going on. I read the headlines, but like, did you hear such and such happened? Like when Ginsburg died, I was the last person to know that, you know, just because I don't want to, like, I have a propensity to either fall into negativity or fall into positivity. So when I had enough of my limit, I'm done. Let's change. Let's go towards positivity.
You're a lot like me in that regard. My husband would, you know, be tuned in to every word on the news, and I couldn't and he's like, do you not know what's going on? I was like, no, I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing to put my energy and my effort somewhere else, because I just know me as a person, I'm going to be drawn into that. And there's no positive that's going to come out of it for me. So I get it. I don't even look at the news. You and I might be the last ones that knew that Ginsburg died, because I really, until I saw it on social media, I was like, oh, because I'm just not paying attention.
Yeah, well, I know one girl here in Austin, a realtor, was like, you know, can't believe this, and like she didn't say the name, and like all these comments, and I had to comment like, okay, what happened? Because you know, who died, you know. So
well, it's not that we're ignorant. It's just like we're so busy focusing on other things and building other people up that just it wears on me. So I'm a lot like you. Well, and one thing that I love about you too is culture is huge for you, and how I love how you're talking about how you're doing huddles and happy hours and things like that. But how are you continuing to build a healthy culture? And and you're still motivating competition, right? And you're still motivating their growth as agents, but how are you continuing to build that and keeping all that in sync?
Sure. And so like we've especially now with you know, not many people coming into the office, we've got, you know, 2,200 square foot office here and like 3 people here, usually not even, mainly just me and John Crow. And
I love John Crow. I miss my friend John.
But you know, we wanted to do things virtually, so we do the weekly huddle with the agents that are on leads. We accountability groups are big for us. We have accountability group that runs for 6 weeks, completely voluntary. And the idea is you come into the group that you're picking 3 things or micro commitments that you want to get accomplished that week. One can be personal, like I'm going to, you know, lift weights or work out for 30 minutes. And then the other 2 are professional. And they're little tiny things that help you move the dial, right? So like I'm going to call 10 past clients today. I'm going to call 20 company leads. And each agent, I'm a participant in this group as well. I don't lead the group, where we have a different partner every week that we check in every day. And then at the beginning of the next week, we have our meeting. We talk about what worked well, what didn't work, what we could improve on. And it's just been really good. So we've got the huddles, we've got the accountability groups. My office manager, Sonny, and I do 3 to 4 professional development meetings with the agent, with different agents every week. So we go through, you know, the whole roster of agents in about 9 or 10 weeks. And then I'm also doing, like, Friday's my day for coaching, and I do 4 to 5 30-minute calls a day with different agents. And then I'll do that for like 6 weeks at a time and just kind of touch the agents that need that. Not everyone needs that. Right. So, it's a lot of personal time to devote to agents. And now I can do that because I'm not selling homes as much. I'll probably sell like 6 homes this year, which is better because I'd rather deal with their stuff, vicariously than me dealing with it. My advice is so much better than the actions I take. So,
well, you mentioned Workplace by Facebook, Ryan. We're all three of us here are fans of Workplace. For those who may not know Workplace by Facebook, I think we can all raise our hand and say you should, because it's a great tool for your business. Talk to us a little bit about your journey with Workplace and maybe give a few ways you use that with your agents.
Sure. Yeah. So when I found out about Workplace, I signed up, looked at it, thought it'd be great for real estate. I Googled Workplace by Facebook for real estate, and there was literally nothing that came on, literally. And so used it for like a couple of months, and then I went to Facebook, went to their PR department, like contact your PR department. And it's like, hey, I'm really using this. I'd like to be involved. About 2 months later, they invited us to their very first, their very first Transform Americas event, which was in Palo Alto. And my wife and I went out there. They were impressed at how they actually did a video of how they sent out like a film crew to do it, to see how we're using Workplace. And so I eventually became on the customer advisory board over there and just been really involved with it. But the way that we're using it is for everything. We have different groups for everything, like professional development. Every agent has their own professional development. We put our meeting notes in there. Now we're doing, videos and headshots and custom materials for each agent. So in that group, the professional development group, they have all their assets in there, whole content kit and everything. Our leads, the agents that are on leads have their own group. The accountability group has its own group. And they're all the groups are attached to their respective files in Google Drive. And it's just been really, we've got another group called Boom. I got that bleep, and that's like where agents like, hey, I just won a multiple offer situation with it's a bragging group, right? Where they can celebrate successes. Yeah.
I love the bragging group. That's a great idea. I have to implement that.
That is a great idea.
Yeah. And I tell agents, it's like, don't feel like you're bragging. Like you're just inspiring others, Yeah. So I try to encourage agents to really post in there because people want to see other productive people. You want to be in a productive environment. So, you're actually helping someone out when you're posting about something, a success that you made, because these guys may be going through a struggle where they're not. And the other thing we do with that, I'll tell you this, all of our onboarding is on the Workplace as well. So once a month we have about an hour and a half meeting. We cover 3 different subjects usually, right? Like multiple offer situations, appraisal addendum. This month we're doing Instagram, how to use Zoom. And then at the end of that meeting, we cut those into 30-minute videos. So we have this vault of training that's probably about 100 videos right now. So, and this is one thing I really love about Workplace is that if an agent needs something, and a lot of it's like even technical stuff, like, how to set up a follow-up boss action plan, right? Or just, anything, we can go back into there. They can search on it themselves. If they have a multiple offer situation, we've got like a 7-minute video in there. We say, tag them in there, watch this. Yeah. And we're still available. Call me because I want you to watch this first and then tell me about your situation so that I can tell you how I would do it in that situation. But we don't have to go through the whole thing.
That's so smart. One of the things I learned very quickly when we first started using Workplace was to leverage it in a similar way. Oftentimes my agents know that if they reach out to me for a question, one of 2 things might happen. Number one, likely that question's been asked before. So Ryan, we do what you do, which is, hey, I'm going to tag you in the work post thread that has that information, read it through, and then call me with questions. But additionally, if it's a topic we haven't touched on, or, maybe it's been a little while, we need a refresher, I'll say, great question, post that question in Workplace, and then tag me and I'll answer it there rather than, and this just happened yesterday. I had an agent reach out to me and I said, I won't answer it in this text message, but post it in Workplace, tag me, and I'll answer it there because other people have that question. So you're then getting more engagement and adoption of the platform.
Yeah. And the video trainings are really helpful, and I'll do the same thing, especially when it comes to technical stuff. It's like, I'm gonna let's do a Zoom. I'm gonna walk you through how to do that. I'm gonna record that, edit it to make it shorter, and then put it in there.
Yeah.
And then categorize it. So our onboarding is through Trello, and all it does is checklist. Like, okay, well, here's your CRM. Watch this. It's like a checklist of like 3-minute videos on how to do all this stuff. And then when they come in to meet with us, the training goes from 10 hours to 1.
Well, and that's one thing I learned from Renee too, because people will come to us. They know we know the answers, and it's easy for us to answer those questions, right? But it also weighs on you and it wears you down. You're like, oh my gosh, I've answered this question a million times. And so Renee is actually the one who really started, because we were doing huddles as well. And she was encouraging me, no, do this. And I have been doing that. And it's like, wow, why didn't I think of that before? But it's also building those other people up. And so I think it's a great exercise. The training videos, seeing those things too. We do Power Hour, but I record them because it's like, okay, just go back and do that. And so you're not recreating the wheel. You can add more content and more value over time, but more people, you can reach the masses in a much easier way. So, I know you're a tech junkie. I know you love social media. I know you love Instagram, all that, and YouTube and video. I have a 2-part question. I know technology is important to you. So what would you say are your top 3 must-haves? And in the current market, how do you think agents can differentiate themselves better? What would your advice be for them?
Sure. Well, top 3 must-haves. You got to have a good site. We talked about REW. I've got an REW and a Ylopo site. Follow Up Boss, I think, it's a great CRM. I use Follow Up Boss, love it. It's hard to endorse anything else. We use Transactify, which is another. It's a service that does measurement and transaction management, and it also does online reviews. I believe that's transactify.net. But those are my top 3. When it comes to differentiating yourself, it's all about video, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, we're using a company now in Austin called Blended Sense that we're contracted with them, and they're doing videos for all of my agents, and we're making these 2-minute videos to introduce themselves, because the best form of establishing a relationship is obviously a one-on-one. Okay. Yeah. The second best form is going to be video, right? So we're getting these vault of videos that are all about the agent, so that when they have a lead that comes in or they meet someone, right, and that they can, we're developing these text templates so that they can just if the lead comes in, they call, try to leave a message, text, say, hey, this is Ryan. I wasn't able to reach you. Here's some more information about me. When would you be able to chat? Okay. So video, doing something like that, but also when I meet with an agent, one of the things that I do is if I call an agent and have a good conversation with them, then as soon as I get off the phone with them, or if I meet with them in person, I'll do just a simple video on my phone and say, hey, this is Ryan. It was great to meet with you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and send that video. And that's what agents should be doing with their clients, is establishing relationship through not just conversation and text, but also video. People seeing you is going to build the rapport. Yeah,
I know video is big for you, so it's fun to watch. I always get a notification, another video.
Yeah, and we retarget all of our videos too. I've had agents say, I can't play Words with Friends without seeing you guys. So,
so what is one of the mistakes that have been made in your business that you look back and say, I'm just so grateful because this is the lesson I learned?
Gosh, there's so many of them. I don't know where to start.
But you always fell forward, though, so that's what matters.
Yeah,
It's falling forward, right?
Yeah, well, kind of earlier in my growth, in 2017, 2008, I say the recent growth, right? Because that's where my growth has been really over the last 4 or 5 years. But hiring, getting excited about the possibility of an agent, and hiring an agent that wasn't really quite either the company culture or they didn't have the production. So knowing who's right for our team is probably a really big deal for me right now. And like I've as we've kind of grown recently, I've had a lot more opportunities for newer agents that are reaching out. Like I have new agents reaching out all the time. And because I want to grow and because I'm excited about it, I really have to check myself. It's like, is this person going to be a good fit here? You know? And that goes with newer agents and more veteran agents, you know? I want the right personality, and you have to really sift through, especially with new agents. We try not to hire too many new agents, but if they do, I need to know that they're going to have the work ethic, because that's going to be the main thing. If they're not, you know, if they don't have that work ethic, it's probably not going to work out. In fact, if you're a new agent, it's probably not going to work out anyway. 73% of all agents fail in the first 5 years. That's a fact. So that's a big one. And then just taking on too much at one time is another thing for me. I'm ADD, so I'm just like kind of all over the place. And like I'll try to develop so many systems for my agents. Like I've got this great system. We're going to do this. Like if you get a review sent in, we're going to make a blog, and then we set up all these like systemized systems for this. What I think is going to be a cool idea, and nobody uses it. They're like, you know, you gotta, when I have these ideas that I think are gonna be great, I really need other people to kind of check me like, Ryan, that's stupid. That's not gonna work. So.
well, I don't know if stupid is the right word. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Impractical, let's say that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think one of the phrases we use on our team often is consistency and good habits. And so it's kind of at the end all be all of the answer to the secret of success. If we have consistency and good habits at whatever path we're choosing, well, then it works. It works. You just need consistency and good habits.
Yeah. And have you guys heard of rocket fuel?
Yes.
The EOS model. So that's one of the things we were just thinking about, you know, being consistent and good habits. It's like, you know, in rocket fuel, there's a visionary and an integrator, right? Well, I'm the visionary, but you also need to know what the visionary's faults are. You know, like I'm like a dog that sees a squirrel. Okay. And so the integrator's got to check me, and then the integrator's got to make sure that whatever that I'm going to take on, that she's going to make sure, I say she because Sonny's my integrator, is going to be, is not going to distract the entire organization.
Yeah.
And that's what happens to people like us.
Well, that's a very important point, is you have a really good partnership there. You need both equations for sure.
Yeah.
Ryan, and if I had the same personality aligning with me, it would not work well. So I love the tribe that I have surrounded. And I think that's what's important, is finding that right tribe and protecting that's also going to protect your culture, right? Because again, like you were just talking, if they don't have the work ethic or they just don't really fit, it's just going to create havoc, and that's not really going to move the team forward. So I think we've all made those mistakes though, right? I mean, you think it's going to be awesome. I know I have, and it's like, this isn't so great. And I'm a sucker where I need to let them go earlier than I do. And I'm like, no, it's going to work. And, you know, that's,
me too.
It's bad. You know, you're like, we can change it. It's going to be great. So trying to let that, you know, understanding when it's not a fit early in the process is a much better habit than not.
I have a hard time letting people go. So that's why I need to be a lot slower to hire, you know?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, what's your crystal ball look like for Spyglass? I keep saying Spyglass, like the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. You've obviously transitioned into a much bigger role for yourself that you're really passionate about. What's next?
So I've thought about that a lot, and what I thought it was going to be has changed. And the reason why is, like, you know, last year I was supposed to get to 30. This year, my goal is 45. You know, I think we had like 100 and a 300 milestone. And so what I've decided is that I'm like, next year's goal will be 75. And I at that point, I'm gonna like really take a hard look, because what I realized is a few years ago, you know, we had some big name brokerages come into town offering a lot of stuff to people. I don't want to say any names. We all know who they are. And they they were scary to me. Okay. It's like, oh gosh, if I don't join them, what's going to happen? Right. Well, they went out, and I was a very small brokerage, and they were the best thing that ever happened to me, because what they did was they eliminated my competition. Okay. And what I realized is that my role here now, and like literally more than half of the agents I have were with smaller brokerages or teams that were absorbed by bigger names, and they missed that company culture. They got lost in the shuffle. Okay. So when I look at my goals for the year, and when I look at the complaints they've had about these other companies, I don't want the agents to get lost in the shuffle. So when I look, I'm not forecasting past next year because of that. I'm going to look at 75 agents of producing agents that have an average production of around 5 million. Okay. So my goal is to increase the current agents production however I can, wherever that comes from: coaching, tools, marketing. Okay. And then I'm not saying I'm going to grow. I'm saying I will not grow past 75, but I am saying that if I grow past 75, it's going to be in a very structured and responsible way, because I don't want to lose production, and I don't want to lose company cultures. And we're not fog and mirrors here at Spyglass Realty.
I think, though, what you're doing is you're creating something pretty amazing that people are going to be drawn to. And I think you're going to organically grow to that. And I bet, knowing you're going to exceed your expectations because of what you've created. And, I know you've been a great producer, but I think maybe stepping out of production and getting into the role that you're in is probably the best business decision you've made.
Oh, it's been amazing on so many levels, right? I mean, we get to the point with clients where Sonny's like, all right, you're not talking to that client anymore. And we get to the point with agents, like outside agents, all right, you're done with that agent, right? Like she takes over, right? It's just, I realized it wasn't my passion. So, now that I've got like a handful of deals this year I'll do that just, past clients writing on the street or whatever. But like my work and life balance is changed too. I'm working 9 to 5, I'm at 5:30 or whatever. I'm not working weekends. And when I come to work, I'm actually so much more passionate about what I'm doing, where I couldn't get passionate about going these listing appointments anymore. Even these big listing appointments, like shit, I'd rather go. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say that, but I don't know if okay.
It's a big boy group.
Yeah, I'd rather be helping my agents than helping clients now. So, and I think it's very rewarding to know what lane you're going to be in, and want to be in that lane.
Renee, you do that a lot with your team. That's really kind of your role. You and Jeff have that team structure, but you're really focusing on the growth of the agents and pouring into them. And I love doing that as well, but my setup's a lot different than what you both are talking about. So this has given me a lot of conversations and a lot of things to think about and figure out what is my true passion. I love so many different things, but what's the true passion that keeps me going? Yeah. And Ryan, what you're talking about is really what I love doing too. And something I've wrestled with too, because I love my clients, and you don't want to step out of that business because there's that fear, but then there's so much growth that is possible from that, and helping others succeed. That's what really gets me excited as well. So I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
The reminder I think we all need in the industry is that one of the things I love most about the real estate industry is we can choose so many different paths and to be a part of our journey. We think at times we get our license and we need to be in this box and it means a certain something. But Ryan, you made a transition, and it's so important to hear your story, because you're fueled by this and you're creating a legacy because you're cascading your knowledge out, which, wow, like think about the ripple effect of that. You're still impacting the industry, which is great.
Yeah, even more so, I'd say. Like we're working on building some teams right now too. Within our brokerage, and you have to realize that not everyone's going to stay. I'm going to help someone build a team, and they're going to be my competition. Okay, and that's one thing that I think as a leader you have to have the mindset of like, who cares, right? Like, you want that to be a great relationship if that happens. I have to earn their splits every single year. So if I earn it, I earn it. And if I don't, I don't. And if they go out and they succeed, then I feel like I'm a part of that.
And there's so much business to be had, and there's so much, and that's the other thing. I always talk about this. I don't really see the competition. I really stay in my lane. I focus on what I'm doing. I'm competitive with myself. Don't get me wrong. You know, I'm very, very driven, but I tell Renee hears me say it all the time, comparison kills joy, right? So if people are going to leave and go do their own thing, and I've had people leave me and it stings because I'm just so relational, you know, and I always want everybody to have that kumbaya, but then I have to realize that, okay, sometimes they have to leave to grow. And that doesn't mean that our relationships change and I'm still cheering them on from the sidelines, but they're not necessarily my competition, because those that are loyal to me and people that are drawn to what I'm doing are going to stay that course. So, you're making better agents, and actually you're elevating the industry. Like all of us that are pouring into other agents are elevating the industry, which we need that overall, right? So, I don't think, building them up is never a bad thing.
No, and I've always been really, I think one of the things that has helped my business and even those of my agents is that, you know, I've always been friendly with my competition, right? And having a good collaborative reputation with your competing, you know, top producing agents, top producing, you know, like some of my best friends in town own other brokerages. So fostering your competition is only going to be good for a true entrepreneur that is in the journey for growth.
Well, and clients come and go. I hate to say it like that, but all of the agents and the top producers are all in the same market. So I'd rather build relationships with people that I'm going to be on the other side of transaction with and have a solid, you know, mature relationship with them instead of worrying about, you know, somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing. And I know that anytime I'm up against one of your agents, it's going to be, okay, we know it's going to be smooth sailing. We can't say that across the board.
Well, that brings up a valuable point. We talk all the time, and this has been a hot conversation even more recently for us because our market in Orlando is shifted overwhelmingly to a very low inventory market. It's critical to have amazing relationships with your colleagues. I understand it's a weird part of our industry that we're competitors. I've talked to the agents about, sure, you're a competitor on the customer acquisition side, but the reality is you really need to think of a team mindset. You obviously have fiduciary responsibilities to your client, but when you go to contract with the other party, you have a common goal to get to that finish line. And there needs to be some team colleague kind of relationships. If you don't get along with your fellow agents, that is a problem.
And Renee, I'm slipping my name. There's a lady that went from REW to Inman. Oh gosh, I can't think of her name. Anyway, I was doing an interview with her, and what she was saying was that like Austin's pretty unique. And this is Elizabeth. This is something I asked about you. Is it like the Austin community of brokers is like we have more of a collaborative relationship and it's less adversarial than other markets. Do you think so, Renee?
Well, I have to say that one of the things I've noticed over the last years, I think as a whole, the industry is starting to be agile and adapt to that. Elizabeth and I, and there's a group of us, I think, in the industry that have believed in authentic collaboration for quite some time. It's changed my world to know the difference between trying to be proprietary with everything, thinking like you have some amazing secret. And what happens is when you open your books to everything and you're open to collaborate with anybody, this amazing abundance comes back to you. And it goes back to, Ryan, what you do, pouring into the agents is critically important. So I have to say the last year in particular, I think the authentic collaborative mindset is shifting in the industry, and the industry will be better for it.
Yeah, and I felt that way for the last couple of years. Like all of my trainings to my agents are available online to any agent. You know, if you're just open book about stuff, you're going to attract people to it. You know,
well, I mean, there are no secrets. Some people are going to do it, and some people aren't, right? And you know, I think to your point though, in Austin, I think we do have a very unique market. I was in the Atlanta market for a number of years, and I don't really remember that kind of cutthroat competition so much, but I was so new in the business that I didn't know what I didn't know. Right. But what I will say is there are a number of people in our market here, I mean, in any market, that I know they're going to be challenging to deal with. And I think that agents get in the middle of transactions all the time. And back to what Renee said, our job, Ryan, if you're on the listing side and I'm on the buyer side, our job is to support both buyer and seller and get them to the closing table, and take the emotions out of it and take all the challenges out of it that the buyer and seller would be dealing with otherwise. And, there have been a number of agents where I'm like, hold on, whose agenda are we following here? And so my goal is always to never be that agent. I'm very solution minded and solution focused. And if I have an adversarial agent, I will step back and say, okay, let's restart over. Let's figure out what we need to do. But I think, Ryan, we are kind of sheltered that Austin, I mean, we all get along really well. I guess we're fortunate in that regard.
Well, and I think it's because we used to be a small city, and I tell you, I think a lot, it used to be. But I think, a lot of that is, the Platinum Top 50 has been hosting these network events for, I think 11 years in Austin. And that's where I've built a lot of these relationships with. Yeah. So I think they have a little credit to Amber Thomas there for
Amber. She's amazing. She was on this show. She's awesome.
Oh, cool.
Amber's great. And she's no nonsense. And she'll bring questions up and we're all talking regardless of the brokerage, right? I mean, there's so many different models out there and every model is going to be different for each person. That doesn't mean that that's wrong or they're wrong. It means, okay, what skill sets can we all bring to the table and share?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's good to have good relationships, and it's going to help you out down the road.
All right, so we have to ask Ryan the question, Elizabeth.
Our favorite question. And we didn't. Normally, we send questions out in advance, but we didn't do that. So we just put you on the hot seat this whole time. But we always have one favorite question we like to ask all of our guests. Renee, you can ask him.
Ryan, what does leadership from the heart mean to you?
All right. Let me think about that for a second. I think leadership from the heart is being passionate about what you do and where you want people to grow, right? You can't lead people if you're not passionate about it. And you want to have a spirit of professionalism and productivity. And in order to do that, you've got to really be passionate about what you do, and so that people can be passionate about it as well. So I guess, what does it mean to you? Start with yourself and why you're doing it, and be really passionate about it. And then you can figure out what you want to talk about, but it all comes from that.
I love that.
All about the why. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
We're so incredibly excited to see the success that you've had in Spyglass Realty. Kudos to you. Keep doing it. You can see that your success is coming from what you just mentioned. It's coming from within, what's speaking to you. You'll continue to grow and go far. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. And thank you guys for having me on. It's been fun.
We were so excited to have you on. I knew that you would be perfect, and you're doing so many great things in our community. So I look forward to seeing you at some point in person around. But until then, you know how to find us, and we'll look forward to keeping in touch.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Ryan, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.